Hey, what's up YouTube? I'm Dark Jack, and in this video I'm going to give you my review of The Witcher 2 for the Xbox 360. Now this game has been out for quite a while, so I'm getting to my review late, but I wanted to do a review because I love this game so much and I'm having a blast playing it. And I've played through the game twice, and I've beaten it on the hardest difficulty. And what you see right here is I'm playing through the arena, and the arena is a new addition to the game. It's a round-based survival mode, and there are 30 rounds, and then after you beat it, you get to do it all over again. And it's a lot of fun to play, especially on easy mode, because you can beat all the enemies very easily. Now, the game The Witcher is a game based off of the book by Andrzej Sapkowski, who is a Polish author. And The Witcher, the character, his name is Geralt of Rivia, and the reason why he's called a Witcher is because a Witcher is someone in this fantasy universe who was an orphan and then adopted or stolen, however you look at it, by someone who was a witch. And then the witch performed experiments on these orphan children and turned them into witchers. And then the witchers then have magical abilities, and they can see in the dark by drinking potions. And so a witcher is someone who then becomes a professional monster slayer. And so this game is a dark fantasy RPG because it is an RPG designed for mature audiences, and it's definitely not a game for children. It's a demanding game to play. It's not as difficult as Dark Souls or Demon Souls, but it's certainly harder than Skyrim or Fable. And this Geralt of Rivia that you play, this is the second game. I have not finished the first game, which is for PC, but it's an amazing game. It has a great universe, and the game is a lot of fun to play, and it's beautiful to look at and enjoy. So if I was to rate this game in terms of its difficulty, if I were to make a difficulty scale from easiest to hardest, on the far left would be Fable, because that game is basically baby's first RPG, and then Skyrim, and then Dragon Age, and then The Witcher 2, and then Demon Souls, and then Dark Souls. So this game is demanding. It's not an easy game to play, but once you've got the combat down, it's much easier to beat. And the combat in this game is very advanced. What you want to do essentially is cast the Quen sign, and Quen is essentially your shields. And when you have the Quen ability up, when enemies hit you, you take no damage, and then you have to cast the sign again. So you want to constantly roll around and wait for the opportune moment. You can also parry and repose your opponents by blocking and then striking at the right time. And you have two swords. You have your silver sword for slaying monsters, and you have your steel sword for killing enemies. Then there are different magical abilities you can have. There's the Quen sign, which is for shields. Then you have your fire attack, which is Igni. Then you have Ard, which is an ability that knocks enemies back. Then you have Yarden, which is a magical trap that you can trap enemies. And then you have Axii, where you can manipulate the minds of your enemies so that they'll fight for you. And before you go into battle, you always want to have potions. And your potions allow you to regenerate your vitality and see in the dark and do all the other cool stuff. So the ones that I use are always Swallow, that gives you vitality regeneration, Rook, which gives you a attack bonus, and then Virga, which increases your defense and resistances. And as you level up in this game, you can choose 3 different paths. You can have a magic path, a mutant path, which is for improving and building bombs and potions, and then there's a sword fighting path, which is the best. And the game is divided up into 4 parts. You have your introduction, which is a decent sized introduction. It's the hardest part of the game, in my opinion, because you're not level up, you're at a low level. And the game actually gets easier once you've leveled up, because you have a lot more health, and you have a lot more abilities, and you're able to roll further. Then you have Chapter 1, which is a decent sized chapter. Then at the end of Chapter 1, you have to make a choice. Do you want to go with Yorvith, the elf, or do you want to go with Roach, who is your human companion? And then from there till the end of the game, almost all of the missions are different. And so there are 2 different paths, and so in order to play all the missions in the game, you have to play the game twice to play both Roach's and Yorvith's path. And I personally enjoyed playing Yorvith's path a little more, but they're both amazing. And the game has tons of side missions, and the side missions are different for each path you choose after Chapter 1. And then Chapter 2 of the game, depending on which path you take, it's the largest chapter in the game. That's the bulk of the game right there. And then there's Chapter 3, and then the epilogue at the end. And there are 4 main bosses in the game. There's the Chiron boss, the Draugr, there's a dragon boss, and then there's Letho, the Kingslayer. And the last boss fight is optional. And there are 4 main difficulties: easy, medium, hard, and dark. And dark difficulty is pretty challenging. I beat it on dark. It's not nearly as hard as beating Demon Souls or Dark Souls, but each difficulty means that the enemies do more damage. So in Dark difficulty, you die in just like 4 or 5 hits if you don't have Coin Up. And there are multiple endings based on your choice. So throughout the game you have to make tons of choices. I'd say I'd estimate probably somewhere in the realm of 25 to 35 choices that affect the ending. So there are between 10 to 20 different endings depending on the choices you make throughout the game. And the voice acting in this game is fantastic. The person who plays Geralt is amazing, as well as the guy who plays Letho. And this game has amazing graphics. I really enjoy playing this game. It looks next generation on the PC. And the graphics on the PC are a little better than that on the Xbox. You can definitely tell the color saturation is certainly more vibrant on the PC than on the Xbox. But on the Xbox it still looks amazing. And this is definitely a game for mature gamers. It's a complex game. There's also a lot of violence. Many of the cutscenes are very graphic, although it doesn't show you all of the violence in them. You see cutscenes of people getting killed, having their eyes put out, getting their throats slit, so it's definitely a violent game. There's also a lot of vulgarity as well, and there's also some nudity. And so it'd be nice if they gave people an option to turn off the vulgarity and the nudity, because that would make the game more acceptable, because I think the nudity doesn't really belong in the game, even though I understand why they put it in. It's also in God of War 3 and other games because they want to try to appeal to mature gamers, but it would be nice if they had an option where you could turn the nudity off rather than just skipping through all the cutscenes. And then the game has amazing acting as well. The cutscenes are beautiful. I'll show you some of them at the end of this video. And so overall I'd give this game a 9.5 out of 10, or at least a 9 out of 10, because this is a really good game. It's fun to play, it's addicting, and it embraces player choice, and the combat as well is rewarding once you figure it out. So like Dark Souls, the key is just to know the right time to roll and then to counterattack at the right time. You don't want to go in guns blazing. You want to wait for your enemy to attack and then counterattack, similar to Demon Souls or Dark Souls. So overall I would recommend that you try this game out, even though it's a difficult game to play. Once you learn the combat system, you'll enjoy it and you'll have a lot of fun, I guarantee it. It's definitely one of the best fantasy RPGs I've ever played. And overall I'd probably say it's in the top 20 of all the games that I've played that I've had the most fun playing. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you later.